So compassion. So in Buddhist terms, compassion means the wish that nobody suffers and the hope that everybody has a peaceful and a happy mind. So on top of that, we have the aspiration. So that's our aspiration, that everybody has a happy and peaceful mind and they don't want to suffer. And on top of that, we then try to do something to alleviate that suffering. So here, the compassion isn't just an emotion, it's also a verb. It's no good keeping it at the point of just an emotion. I mean, any of us can say, oh yes, I have a lot of compassion for them, and then don't do anything to actually try to alleviate that suffering they're going through. So yes, it is an emotion, compassion, but also it's a verb. It's something that we should do. So this is the definition of, excuse me, definition of compassion in Buddhism. Now, this is the point where I want you to open up your mind. Compassion is about the person and is not about their behavior. So just think about that a moment. Compassion is for the person. Compassion is not for their behavior. So what I'm saying here is that, say that somebody was put a bomb on and they went into the crowd of people and they exploded the bomb. We would instantly have compassion for all the people that were blown up. But we would have no compassion for the person that blew them up, the terrorist, the bomber. And why is that? It's because we're looking at behavior and we're not looking at that person. We don't know that person. We don't know their backstory. We don't know what has led them to do that awful thing. I mean, what would it take for you to do such an awful thing? You know, something bad has happened in their life to get them to that point. But we only look at that point. We make our judgment on that one thing, and we know nothing about their backstory. They've probably had an absolutely awful life. But if you're looking at behavior, then yeah, of course, we can't have compassion if we're looking at behavior for a bomber, for somebody who rapes somebody, somebody who breaks into your house or whatever. If you're looking at behavior, then of course, we can't have compassion. But compassion is about the person, feeling for that person. And if you don't have compassion for all beings, then you don't have compassion. Because if you decide, I have compassion for these people, but I don't have compassion for these people, that isn't compassion. That's discrimination. If you want to say, and we all like to think we're compassionate people, it has to cover all beings. As beings, as if we're talking about humans, all human beings, as people and not as behavior. Does that make sense? I mean, I know that if you're a victim of some crime, it is difficult for us to have compassion for the person who's done something wrong for us or wrong to us. But that is because we're looking at that one thing. We don't know what led to that one thing. We don't know anything about their backstory. So we're making a really quick snap decision that we don't like that person because of one thing. And you know that if we do that, then we're not giving people the opportunity to change. If you label somebody a thief, or if you label somebody a rapist or whatever it is, then you're giving them no chance to change. But if you're showing compassion to that person, so I'm not saying that we should forgive them, or forgive them, we must do, but I'm not saying that we should accept their behavior. Actions have consequences. You do something wrong, you're going to have to pay for that. That is a given. So I'm not saying that these people shouldn't be taken to court and shouldn't have their punishment. Of course they should, because we can't go through life just doing exactly what we want. I mean, the society would break down. So I'm not saying and when you have compassion for a person, you're not saying I agree with what they've done. You're just saying, as a person, I have compassion for that person because of their life story, their backstory that we don't know anything about. So compassion is about a person and not about behavior. So I know that many of you are probably thinking, I don't think so. Just let it sink in, yeah? Just give your mind an opportunity to think about it. Before you come back and attack me, just reflect on that and see that if that makes sense to you. Because if you are discriminating, then first thing you have to ask yourself, who are you? That you know that these people should have compassion and these ones shouldn't. I mean, we don't have that ability to discriminate like that. We should never do that. We know nothing about people's lives. We make snap decisions all of the time. Somebody walks down the road with blue hair and they, oh, look at that person, oh my God. Or somebody doesn't act the way that we think they should be acting, or they don't dress the way, or they don't eat properly, or they talk in a bad way, or maybe they just use bad language. We judge them straight away. We just make a snap decision, even though we don't know them. I mean, that person with blue hair might be a nurse or a doctor. We don't know, but we just look at the hair and think, oh my God. We're always making these snap decisions, and it's those snap decisions, those criticisms, that is stopping us from being a real compassionate person. They will hold you back. So compassion means that we don't want anybody to suffer. That's the starting point. We don't want anybody to suffer. But people are suffering. And we want people to have a happy and a peaceful mind. That is compassion. That is nothing to do with behavior. That is, I want people to be happy and have a peaceful mind. I want people not to suffer. That's what I want. It has nothing to do with behavior and everything to do with being a human being.
If you enjoyed this video, then press the subscribe button now. And don't forget to share the video with your friends.